Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
This is Sumo Prime Time.
No, that's a channel that exists.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
They barely exist and they're already going to sue us.
Yeah.
Let's
not make any enemies.
It's just such a, yeah, this is flaring.
By the way,
I'm Mac and I can't control my laughter.
I apologize. I have been binging those episodes on the official YouTube channel by Hiro Morita and the Sumo Association. And that just gets, at first time I thought that was kind of weird how they just yell out Sumo Prime Time, but then they just keep doing it and so endearing. I'm all about it.
That's why I was like, don't apologize.
Like that as well.
Don't apologize.
Yep. And they're all like saying it
just a little too long.
Yep. And you can tell like they're doing it in a different language. It's it's been fantastic. I've been enjoying it. I recommend people check it out.
Totally.
Sumo, if you search Sumo Prime Time into anything, you'll find it.
Yeah. Same with Konishiki also has a video series out there that you can purchase. It's like instructional and historical videos. I haven't really looked into it too much, but I hear that it is out and that it is fun.
Oh, there you go.
We'll see.
Does he say stuff like Sumo Konishiki a history time?
And then awkwardly pauses with his finger in the air for a little while.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. As long as Ryan's not here, we can talk about amateur sumo for a minute.
Oh, how much fun it is and how freaking amazing it is.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned the schedule of what's upcoming because we do have a handful of things on the calendar. On Saturday, the 1st of October in Grand Rapids, there's the Beer City Open. That one is on a clay dojo as part of like an art exhibition. Still working on how we're streaming it. Just we'll keep you posted, but it will probably end up on, our YouTube or their YouTube or Facebook or something like that. Just depends on how that works out. But that is 2 weeks out. There's also Sumo Dan's All-American Sumo Classic. That is a exhibition event at Mr. America, like the weightlifting. I don't want to call it pageant. That sounds like too fancy and like
contest.
Gigantic convention. There we go.
Convention.
That one is invite only, but they are advertising on Instagram who is participating. They got some excellent representation from around the country. On October 15th. Oh, excuse me. That's on October 8th. Yep. I am also not sure how that one is streaming or if it will be available afterwards or what. October 15th, me and Mac are going to tie up some Mawashis for the first time and learn some sumo in the Quad Cities. Reach out to us if you are anywhere in driving distance of Davenport and you would like a sumo class. You do not need a Mawashi to start with, but by the time that the class is over, you will have already ordered several, I'm sure.
Yes.
Last but not least, on November 12th, the Texas Open will be taking place in Houston at the Tokyo Night Festival with literally 10,000 or so people in attendance at this festival. And the sumo stage is right there at the front. Everybody's going to be walking past it as people are wrestling and stuff all day long. It's going to be very cool. And I am going to be there only because I was able to secure a lot of help with mooching rather than travel costs. I will be couch surfing because the travel budget is trash for the year.
Yeah. Fun. I mean, it's been an absolute blast this year, but
I spent too much money on traveling.
Yeah.
So
but
I gotta
don't
work
get
on
paid to
more.
do this.
No.
I mean, technically we do, Ryan. Who pays us?
The people, the Patreons.
Our wonderful patrons.
That's right. You can sign up for Grand Sumo Breakdown Patreon with 2 tiers currently. $1 tier where you get a compliment every single basho, which we are about to get into, and a $3 tier where not only will you get a compliment, you will get to ask us any question of your choosing, and we are honor bound to answer that no matter what the question is, sumo or otherwise. So for compliments,
bring it on.
We have Rob Shields, Jorge Lamarca, Trent Caroline, Octavian Martin, Giuseppe Salico, Rob Graham, King of Salt, Glenn Otto, Alex Hearn, Anna Tsukahara, Aetherist, Casey Mustang, Beth Comer, Dave Rodriguez, and Stephen Ward. Whenever we think about you guys, we throw our arms up in the air like we're Ura celebrating a defeat of Daisho, but without the immediate shame afterwards.
That was funny watching him catch himself.
Spoilers through day 8.
Yes, obviously spoilers through day 8. So sorry if you started listening to this podcast and you hadn't watched anything. We spoiled the Ura versus Daisho matchup for you, but you can pause now, come back to us after you've watched all of day 8, and now you're caught up. And
if that was a spoiler for you,
yeah, that was a spoiler.
Yeah.
you are like nearly a week behind. So get on that.
But still have to say it.
So let's dive into the Yusho race, where your sole leader is an undefeated Hokuto Fuji.
As we all predicted in the beginning, clearly Hokuto Fuji's tournament to lose.
Let's go.
Now, Ryan, I know you must absolutely hate this because it's like a middle ranker Magashira finally doing well in the beginning. It's awful, isn't it?
Favorite thing, yeah.
I have no shame about being an absolute hypocrite.
Oh, I know.
I hate it. I don't like it if it's not my guy, but this is like the one time where it's my guy, and you can go back in the tapes and where I recently might have said Hokuto Fuji's no longer my guy. Now that he's actually doing good, like
I think that was Tim Sumo that mentioned it on Twitter. He's like, was that Mac? I'm like, no, that was Ryan.
No,
Ryan has been all aboard the Hokuto Fuji train.
We
That's
recently
what being a sports fan is about.
Yeah, we recently questioned my love for Hokuto Fuji and whether that had shifted. And I think I said at the time, I think maybe like Wakataka Kage. But now that Hokuto Fuji's doing something, I'm realizing.
What was I talking about?
Well, it's not just that he's doing like, because Wakataka Kage just won a U show and all that. I didn't feel the things that I'm feeling right now. Absolutely all aboard the Hokuto Fuji hype
so you're
train,
saying
like,
he's making you feel things
for the first time in like 3 years for Hokuto Fuji, which is understandable why I questioned myself deep inside, but this is cemented. Like, no, I'm a Hokuto Fuji boy through and through. Yeah, absolutely backtracking on what I said like 2 or 4 months ago, but I don't care.
Ryan don't give a shit.
Yeah.
All right, so
it is pretty cool. I will say it's pretty awesome.
Oh no, it's
yeah. As like a half lover of Hokuto Fuji, like I would love him more if Ryan didn't love him so much.
Oh, obviously.
There's totally an asterisk there going, would love more, but Ryan.
Yeah.
But Ryan, yeah.
So
you almost said everything right, Hokuto Fuji. But yeah, it's it's fantastic. I'm happy for the guy.
So Hokuto Fuji, like we said, 8-0, the sole leader. This is the best start in Hokuto Fuji's career, besting a previous 7-0 start that he had. Now 8-0. So he's bested his previous best start. Who knows how far it could go? 15-0. I think definitely yes.
Well, we'll discuss that.
When we look forward to week 2, I probably am not going to have the best analysis. It might be kind of a little biased. So Jake, Flerick, and Mac, why don't you guys give your realistic expectations for week 2? We'll start. How about Jake? Why don't you tell us what are some realistic expectations for Hokuto Fuji in week 2?
The highest ranking guy that he has faced is Endo at Maegashira 6.
Beat him.
Did. Yes, he did.
But
right.
Hang on.
There's also, let's see, of the people that. Oh, shut up, Daisy.
No, do not tell Daisy to shut up. She is a love.
She has. Oh, my wife's been traveling this weekend, so I've had Daisy and Bubbles to myself, and they are just not having it. They're not giving me a relaxing weekend. So
anyway,
there is also only one guy that Hokuto Fuji has faced that even has a winning record currently. So it's one of those things where, like, yes, there's always a couple Maegashira that, like, do well, get in the Yusho hunt. And yes, sometimes they do last all the way to the end, but this is about as inflated a record as you could have at 8-0 that I can think of. Like, it's all like mid to lower Maegashira that are all also doing kind of iffy. So I'm gonna go even more negative than I truly feel, because I need to bring Ryan down back to earth a little bit. What do you guys think?
I think you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, go ahead,
of course
Flarek.
you do.
Yeah. I didn't look into the potential matchups like that, but I will just say, yeah, I think he's better than what his rank's at, which I think is kind of showing what he's doing right now. He's also, I think, he must have been like fighting some kind of injury or something, because this is kind of like a new Hokuto Fuji and everything's kind of working out for him. But as soon as he gets that 1 or 2 inevitable Sanyaku matchup, he's just gonna be he's gonna be just knocked down super fast. Maybe Shodai he has a chance, but Mitaki Yumi,
maybe absolute disrespect.
Maybe Mitaki Yumi.
More like Shodai, more like showed up with a pre-crapped in Mawashi.
Ooh, ouch.
Got him.
That's bad.
Had to get my burn in there.
But yeah, I think he's better than where he's at ranked currently. But Sanyaku, he still doesn't have a chance, just like his career has showed us.
So I think it'll be interesting with his match tomorrow with Wakamoto Haru, because Wakamoto Haru's been doing okay, but again, I think this is one of those boundary lines with Hokuto Fuji. I think once he starts getting up into the Sanyaku, we're going to see a little faltering. Now, that's not to say we've seen Hokuto Fuji get hyped. We've seen his pre-bout rituals. I do not want to be standing across that man when he's slapping his face. I mean, this is before the poised breathing and then goes absolutely batshit and starts slapping himself. Now that completely does something in my head when I'm watching this. But anyway, I could see a 12-3 out of this. I think once he faces some of the top tier guys, if he maintains going into the last few days, I think that's, depending on where the field is, that's what's going to determine those, where he's going to end up. If he faces some of the guys that have been doing well, again, possibly Teruno Fuji, doubt it, but who knows? Depending on how everything no, definitely not Teruno Fuji. Anyway, don't know what I was thinking. We're gonna go and say Tamawashi. That's who I really wanted to say for that one.
Ooh.
And I'm betting 12-3.
Yeah, so to your guys' point about, and 12-3 could be good enough to win the U show. It has been for the most part this year. So you're not saying, at least Mac's not saying that Hokuto Fuji's out of the U show race at this point.
No.
There's only one other guy that is within 1 win of him. So after tomorrow, Hokuto Fuji could have like a 2-win buffer, which, as we've seen with Takayasu, we know is not necessarily a guarantee.
Ryan firing back.
We're waiting until we get to him, because yes, I have that one in the chamber ready to go.
Jake has thoughts.
But you guys are talking about, once he gets up to the fighting some of the Sanyaku ranks, he's not going to do good. So I'm like, they're not doing amazing this Basha. You got like Kiribayama, Wakataka Kage, Hoshoryu. All of them already have like 3 losses, so it's not like they're being dominant. The matchup history doesn't look good for Hokuto Fuji.
That's exactly.
It's like he's like 1-3 against Kiribayama. He's like 0-5 against Hoshoryu, 1-3 against Wakataka Kage. But you know what? This is a different Hokuto Fuji. We've never seen this Hokuto Fuji before. We don't know how high he can fly.
we got the little voice in your head. It's starting to speak up a little bit, and now I'm happy, now that I've injected a little misery into my friend's life. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little.
We are riding the Hokuto Fuji hype train, and it runs on positivity. Your negativity. Get out of here. We don't want it anywhere near here. We're going full speed ahead.
Have you met me?
We're going
on
a decade.
You're not on board the hype train.
I'm like desperately like snidely whiplashing booby traps onto the track.
He's even got the mustache.
Like
just start twirling the mustache.
Just because I can't let you be happy with your favorite rickshaw, why can't you let me be happy? You're supposed to be better, Jake.
Unlike trains, this metaphor is breaking down, but that's a two-way street, two-way rail. That's the only reason that we're here, is to tear each other down a little bit.
Yeah. So let's talk about that one guy that's trailing Hokuto Fuji. Tamawashi is having himself a basho so far. He is 7-1. Flarek, what do you think about Mr. Tommy Mawashi?
Mr. Tommy Mawashi.
Yeah.
I don't know. He could potentially be up there, but it's just, I'm not feeling it this time for this guy. I feel like it's someone else's story. We'll see. I'm actually
he's won one in the past.
He's won one in the past. He's been there before. He has felt the grace the cup that only few have felt or something, or whatever Hakuho said
the
from a
weight and
translate
girth
article.
of the Emperor's Cup.
Yeah, something very truly touching. But I don't know. Like, I think there was this one loss that's kind of the one that really spoiled me. I forget who he faced off against. As I look this up right now, Wakataka Kage.
Wakataka Kage.
Yeah, it was a pretty handed loss from him. So I think that's kind of what spoiled my mood that he's actually going to be able to pull it together for the rest of the time. Looking through this year again, he's through most of the Sanyaku. He got some Komusubi to go through. We'll see how it goes. I guess I'm not feeling it is what I'm gonna say. I'm not feeling it, even though he has only one loss. He's in second place.
Mac already kind of mentioned he's feeling Tamawashi a little bit. Thinks he's probably the biggest threat to Hokuto Fuji. Jake, how are you feeling on Tamawashi this basho?
A little higher than Fleric, I think. I think partially because he has won a Yusho before. He has been in the Sanyaku pretty much the whole time we've been watching and has more experience and all that. And for some reason seems completely immune to the effects of being 37 years old in sumo wrestling.
Ancient.
Oh yeah.
Ancient.
Baffled. Absolutely baffled. And has never missed a match still. Like what the hell? What is he made out of? No, I think go ahead, Flair.
This reminds me of the frisbee team I play for. There's a guy who's I think he's like 39 or something like that, but he's pretty close to 40 or something.
Wow. And he's still walking and everything.
I know he's still walking, has functional
his knees must be shot.
But it's
39,
it's pretty.
I know that's ancient.
Yeah.
But he's still like just he still get works done. Like he's still athletics, like jumping over like young kids and like ding frisbees and stuff like that. And like whenever that happens, our favorite chant to do is like just yell, "He's 40!" to like the young 20-something kid who subsists off Bang energy drink. It's yeah, you can just see that just being crushed by that as soon as they hear it.
That's
it's
right,
fantastic.
No, I love that. And like, yeah, I mean, we're not 37 yet ourselves. So of course we're going to make fun of him for like, being older than like the radio. But in pro sumo wrestling, that is ancient. That is so old. It's kind of funny because some of our best friends in amateur sumo are like 5 to 10 years older than that. And it's like still going perfectly fine because they're not doing it day in, day out 100% of their life, right? So yeah, but either way, I am pretty high on Tamawashi for this basho. I guess if I had to pick between him and Hokuto Fuji, I'd have slightly more faith in Tamawashi sticking around. But I don't know. I'm not particularly inspired by him either, that I think he's going to run through everybody else. He's had some matches where he just absolutely trucks people for sure. But both of these guys have looked good, but not like transcendent enough for me to be 100% confident in them right now.
Yeah, just to throw a little bit of pessimism towards Tamawashi because all of my positivity is going to Hokuto Fuji. I've only got pessimism for everybody else.
Exactly.
But Tamawashi, he's got a 7-1 start. This is his best start he's had in a while, but he's had pretty good starts in the past. He started 6-2, like 3 out of the past 5 bashos, and his final results, those tournaments, were a 9-6, an 8-7, and a 9-6.
So still Kachikosh, but
still Kachikoshi, but nowhere close to a Yusho winner. So Tamawashi has done pretty well in the first weeks over the past year and has really fallen off a cliff in the second week, and that's after he's gotten past all of the Sanyaku Rikishi. So we'll see if something similar happens to him this basho. It's yet to be seen. He does look absolutely dynamite so far.
It is baffling to me. Like Wakataka Kage has a much more like Sekiwake appropriate kind of, or wait, no, never mind. I'm thinking of something different. For Tamawashi, like he's very often in like the single digit Maegashira, a lot of the time in the joy. So he's going up against the hard guys at the beginning of the week or beginning of the tournament, and yet somehow has better first weeks than second weeks as a general trend. Not every time.
You
but
wouldn't
as a general
think that,
trend.
but yeah,
exactly. Like he got 3 Kinboshi in 3 consecutive tournaments, while never ending with more than 9 wins just in this last year. Like, yeah, I mean, maybe that is the symptom of aging that we need to be keeping an eye on. Like maybe he like runs out of steam as the tournament goes on, despite being extremely talented. I don't know.
Yeah.
So when you have two leaders for the Yusho race that are both Maiga Shira, that means to me that the people that are 2 wins back from the lead are still very much in play. So we've got a group of 6 Rikishi at 6-2, and I want to highlight Taka Keisho first because he's the only Sanyaku Rikishi within 2 wins of the Yusho race. And I feel like, to me, this is a little bit different of a Taka Keisho than we've seen in past, and I just want to check in with you, Flerick. Does this seem like an angrier Taka Keisho than we've previously seen?
What was the match where he was just doing full hand slaps to the face?
Koto no Waka.
Koto no Waka, yeah.
I counted 7 slaps that connected and then plus a few more that whiffed.
But still, the power behind those shots.
I don't know what Koto no Waka did to Taka Keisho there, but that was an angry Taka Keisho. Yeah, if you're going into a match against Taka Keisho this Basho, you have to pretty much expect that you're going to a boxing match. Holy shit, that was insane.
I was getting Hakuho, I think Tochi Ozan vibes, if I'm remembering that right,
Yeah.
where just Hakuho would just beat the ever-loving piss out of Tochi Ozan.
No, I think my favorite, so that match against Koto no Waka was absolutely beautiful, but I think my favorite Taka Keisho match this Basho so far is actually his one against Tobizaru, and it was the day after Tobizaru beat Terunofuji, doing like Tobizaru things, just kind of like waiting, picking his spot, not really diving in until like the right moment. And it worked against Terunofuji because Terunofuji's knees are absolutely shot this Basho. But the match after that, Taka Keisho's like, not doing that to me, buddy. Just immediately straight forward and blasted him out of the ring. Yeah. So I've really been enjoying Taka Keisho so far this Basho, and I think if I wasn't on the Hokuto Fuji hype train, which I'm all aboard,
in that
Hokuto
hypothetical.
In that hypothetical situation, I might say Taka Keisho would be my favorite to win this Basho at this point. He seems like he's kind of back in that form. He's coming off that 11-4 Basho. He's been healthy for a little bit. So I think Taka Keisho has it in him to win his 3rd Basho this time. But let's talk about the other 5 Rikishi with 6-2 records. We do have.
Hey, I'm sorry. I had one note for Taka Keisho. I feel like with as many matches as he's had this Basho in particular, where he has like his very obvious identifiable plan A that he's doing, I feel like we need a name for his style, where he kind of like ducks and like he almost always whiffs with it, but he like kind of like does a half-hearted slap down as he like ducks down to like just absolutely send the other guy as much as he can. But the I would like to posit the duck and chuck for his style. You got to have a rhyme, like the hug and chug for
the bumpty bump, the hug and chug.
Yeah. So the duck and chuck would be my proposition, but we can think on it if you guys want.
Well, I know the Tachi blog has always called it like the wave action supati.
I can see that.
Oh, like
rhyme,
yeah, but I'm just saying it kind of already has an accepted name.
I don't know. I think we can do that.
Duck and Chuck is a very good name.
I do like that.
I'll work on some other rhyming options, but we can revisit it depending on if he does well or if he does poorly. I'll stop caring about it.
Yeah.
Whip and Biff?
Make sure we include aquatic animals. I think that's very important.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We need aquatic animals.
Yeah, so is Taka Keisho an angry buff seal this Basho, Flerick?
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like maybe he's closer to maybe the great predator of the dark, of the sea. That is, he might just be a shark.
Ooh, Taka Keisho's a shark this Basho. All right.
All right.
Bring an old meme back. Let's go. He wants it. He just wants it more.
dusting off some entries from the GSB Hall of Meme fame.
Wow.
Yeah. So we do have 5 other Rikishi that are at 6-2 with Taka Keisho. We have Maegashira 4, Takayasu, Maegashira 6, Wakamoto Haru, the comeback king this Basho, Maegashira 10, Nishiki Fuji, Maegashira 13, Oho, and Maegashira 14, Chiyo Shoma. So out of those 5 Rikishi, who has impressed you guys the most through week 1? Mac, who's impressed you the most out of those 5?
Between these 5, it has to be Nishiki Fuji. For his second time in the upper ranks in Makushita, not bad. I mean, from M17 with 3 Fusen wins, I'm like, all right, let's see how this guy does. Actually pretty impressive at M10. He's not as bad as I was thinking he would be, but I think as the week goes on, he's gonna see maybe a little bit more competition, maybe more people getting hungry. But for a guy that I wasn't expecting too much out of, not bad. 6-2.
I would say for me, I'm going to go with Wakamoto Haru. And just because the most dangerous place you can be in a match with Wakamoto Haru is his feet on the Tawara, you forcing him back. Yeah,
yes.
That's the most dangerous spot you can be in against Wakamoto Haru, because he has 2 Uchari victories this basho. He went for like a third against, I think it was Miyogiryu today,
where he had like the same match twice in a row, but with slightly different foot placement.
Yeah, and it ended up in a Tori Naoshi with his Miyogiryu match, but then, like you said,
which was a robbery, of course.
Oh yeah, no, another robbery.
But yeah, Wakamoto Haru's just been the comeback king this basho, and I just think those individual match performances have been so impressive to me. What about you, Flarek?
I like how you're saving me for last because
we already know, Jake.
Okay, go ahead, Flarek. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, well, no, you go, Jake, because I think I was actually just gonna take your thunder, I guess, but I'll just tack on. I'll let you lead.
Well, Takayasu started off great at 7-1. His only loss to Ura, which is not that bad a loss, of course, because Ura is doing pretty solid this basho. But he did lose to the second best guy in the entire division, so I think that's a choke.
Yeah,
a choke.
No, his
talking about against Takakeisho.
Yeah, he lost to Takakeisho today, day 8, which means that he's completely lost it and he's choking. A guy who's much higher ranked than him and also doing very well this tournament. It must be all in Takayasu's head that's causing him to lose. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've been just really impressed with just how mental boom Takayasu's been actually this past one day. So I think I'm gonna just watching his inevitable downfall.
It was bound to happen. He inevitably was gonna just throw it all away with his weak mental game by facing Ozeki's. And he's got Teruno Fuji tomorrow too. If he loses to Teruno Fuji, that means that he's definitely crumbling. So
all right. I'm going to bring some positivity into this Takayasu hype chain. Even though even Jay cannot bring it. But no,
I feel like that was so sarcastic that I was being positive.
You went all the way around. You went far enough left that you were going right.
Yeah, he's been looking pretty good. Like the matches from Takayasu have been pretty solid. Like I've been thoroughly impressed. He's been pretty dominant. He had a run of 5 wins. Like you say, he lost against Ura, but he's like a tricky guy. It's hard to know against it. Was he? Let me check my notes on this one. Was he the one? The Ura one? No, that was against Takara Fuji. No, it was a different one.
Pulled off the crazy move.
Yeah, holy hell.
No, that was pretty sweet move. But no, I was thinking the one against Daisho, but no. Ura's a tricky opponent. Like there's no shame in losing against him. Same thing with Takakeisho. Those are always going to be hard matchups, as it's been proven this entire basho so far.
Yep.
So other than that, he's won every single one. I think looking on everyone else, I think he has a chance to do pretty well. He's still behind. That's going to be the hard part against him from actually winning the Yusho, but he can definitely play spoiler, and I've just been thoroughly impressed by his performance so far.
And like I said, he's got Teruno Fuji coming up next, who he is 12-12 against. Would not have expected that strong of a record against the Yokozuna. That's pretty cool.
and with Teruno Fuji in the shape that he is in,
I think I'd take Takayasu on that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty heavy, maybe not heavily Takayasu favored, but I'd say Takayasu favored. Although, like what we've seen Teruno Fuji lose to this basho is Tamawashi, who just has Teruno Fuji's number. But clearly, then Ura and Tobizaru, a couple of guys that I would say like do like delaying tactics or do like guerrilla sumo. They're just
hit and run.
Yeah, exactly. And with Teruno Fuji State, they're just waiting to find the right spot, and they know that he can't like attack them as he might normally be able to. Whereas somebody that is probably going to just barrel right into Teruno Fuji, go for a belt battle, that is Teruno Fuji's strength. So this will be a very interesting case to see if Teruno Fuji can still win those matches against people who are very ganky right now, or if like even that's too much for his knees to handle at this point. Jake, I want to ask you a question. Is it impossible for an underdog to choke? Like, in your mind, can underdogs never choke?
Where I
because
guess...
your logic is Takayasu didn't choke because he fought people who were ranked higher than him. Therefore, an underdog can never choke. An underdog can't have a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter of a football game and then absolutely blow it in the last 10 minutes. Well, they didn't choke. The other team was better than them. It doesn't matter the position that they were in. It doesn't matter any other circumstances besides their rank.
I think that it is silly to make a narrative based on it, but I do think that something that would be more akin to choking, like in football or another sport, you have to make a tremendous number of mistakes in a row that could obviously be like more readily identified as like, oh, well, the pressure got to these guys. They made mistakes they otherwise wouldn't have. In sumo, it's just the one match per day. So like, if you look at one match at a time, you know, he's the underdog coming in, and it would be different if Takayasu kept getting opponents to the Tawara and then messing up something that he normally does well. That'd be different. But if you're just looking at match results, I don't think that yeah, I don't know. Underdogs absolutely can choke. I just don't think that Takayasu's
repeated history of losing in the final days of Basho's where he has the lead.
Losing repeatedly to guys that are better than him. It's like
Ryan's just trying to twist the dagger.
I know, and he's so good at getting me started because he knows that I can't not take the bait.
Exactly.
I can't just let the worm diggle around there without taking a bite at it.
It's one one thing where Jake and I truly are on exact opposite sides on how we feel about it.
And there's it's rare for there to be that strong of conflict other than just needling each other.
Yeah. All right. We'll go past it. We don't need to bring it up every single
Leave the dagger alone.
We'll just let that sit until we get to the end where we're asking who's going to win the Basho, and I say Takayasu again. So we'll just save it till then.
All right.
So Mac, we've talked about Terunofuji a little bit. He's 5-3. We've talked about who he struggled with this Basho. A lot of people are saying, God, he just isn't moving good. He looks bad. They're expecting him to pull out. Do you think Terunofuji will finish this Basho?
I said it on the preview, like he wouldn't finish with the Yusho or the Jun Yusho. And I did mean that just as a contrary point, because I thought, all right, I'll just be different to be different with this. But I don't want to be right. And I don't like what I'm seeing from him. His matches are taking more and more effort to win, especially with these, like you were saying, the hit and run tactics. If you try to go for a belt battle with him, you're gonna lose. I mean, we've seen it with these. We have spurts of the old dominant Terunofuji, especially when he gets that overarm locks up the elbows, completely takes away everybody's leverage, and then he's just able to manhandle them out of the ring. But first, I don't like what I'm seeing from this. The guerrilla tactics are having an effect on him, and he's having to be back on his heels a lot more. And it's just that amount of effort is increasing with how much he has to put forth to try and win these matches. I worry about his stamina going into week 2 because now, well, I say that, but let's look at the field that he's going up against. Everybody else kind of below him, not doing that great. But if you look at the other styles, again, it's a toss-up. The only ones that I'm really worried about would be Takakeisho. So assuming that he drops that one, that's 4 losses, 11-4. I don't think that's going to be good. Assuming he wins out 11-4. I don't think that's going to be good enough for either a Jun Yusho or I don't think a Yusho at all, but
because 15 wins is getting the Yusho this time.
Well, clearly, yes. So I don't like it. And I would assume at this point, going off of previous Yokozuna, going Kyujo to save face might not be a bad deal.
Jake, Flair, sorry.
I was gonna say, I hope he doesn't. I think I think he believes he can do pretty well. I think that's probably the reason why he's in. Like Mac was saying, like he's definitely injured, but he's still sticking out. He still thinks he can like win these matches. So I hope he does. I hope we get that Takakeisha match. It might not be as he might not be as even as it was in the past, but he's still thinking he can do some damage. So I hope he sticks it out while he still believes. So I like that.
I don't like it. I don't like saying that because I'm like, no, I love Terunofuji, but
yeah.
Like it might be wise just to say, no, I'm injured. I have other things going on, and then not have to worry about it. Take some time to heal.
We haven't brought up this next guy's name yet, and that is Mitakeyumi Ozeki. For now, Mitakeyumi. Jake, do you think he currently has a 3-5 record, can only lose 2 more times in order to keep his Ozeki rank, and he's got the toughest part of his schedule coming up? Do you think Mitakeyumi rallies in week 2 to keep his Ozeki rank?
Probably. I don't know. I do think probably, because he's I mean, I was just going to agree that I think it's unlikely that Terunofuji makes it all the way. But if he were to drop out, that's one potentially difficult matchup for Mitakeyumi that's gone. When you say he's got his toughest matchups remaining, that does include Shodai.
Fair.
Right?
Fair.
Yeah. So
but if he puts forth the same effort today that he did against Wakataka Kage, I don't know. Do we give the edge to Shodai in that case?
Well, I think Mitakeyumi put forth a good effort against Wakataka Kage to him. Yeah. That wasn't a terrible loss. Wakataka Kage just had really good defense at the Tawara today.
That was a really fun match.
Fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mitakeyumi, he's only got 2 wins more than Shodai, but he looks way less helpless.
Yeah.
Like he's doing his thing, and he's getting in there and getting good grips and looking strong. But that the results aren't there so far this tournament. So I don't know. I think it's more likely than not, in my opinion, that he does do well, just because I think that it's possible that he's just kind of in a funk that he's working himself out of or something. I don't know. Mitakeyumi's been around and at this level, not with the official Ozeki rank, but he's been at this level of competition for years now, and almost always pulls off the 8 to 10 wins and looks okay. So I don't know. The Sanyaku's a lot less threatening this Basho than it has been. So his quote unquote toughest matchups remaining, other than Takakeisho, I don't think anybody up in his area looks particularly intimidating that he hasn't faced yet.
All right. So what about you, Fleric and Mac? Do you have the same hope in Mitakeyumi?
I do. Like, I think it's entirely because of he, like, compared to Shodai, he looks like he's not as helpless. Just like Jake said. I'll have to kind of look at. He saw some tough matches. The Takakeisho and Terunofuji. I still think those are good matchups. Like I said, because I think these still a good match for those guys. So he might be able to do some upset when that's happening. But I guess, yeah, I'm mostly hopeful. It kind of depends on who he's going to face, but I think he's probably a favor against most of them.
I'm with you on that one, Fleric. I'm hopeful for it just because I'm sorry. Shodai, really? No, I can't do it. So we need to have 2 Ozeki in there, and between the 2, I like Mitakeyumi more. I'm sorry to all the Shodai fans out there. I can't get behind the guy.
Oh yeah, Shodai's doomed.
I'm sorry. And between the 2, I'm like, okay, I know we've crapped on Mitakeyumi in the past being inconsistent, but he doesn't look helpless. And that, in the end, for me, I'm like, okay, do you look like you're going to fight? Can you put forth some effort? All right, you got my vote. Between the 2, you got my vote.
Oh, for sure.
All right, I'll bring the pessimism back into this room and say,
oh God, no.
I mean, if Terunofuji sticks it out, I think that's a tough matchup for Mitakeyumi, because like we said, that's Mitakeyumi fights the kind of battle that Terunofuji wants to fight. And so that could be a win for Terunofuji. I think Takakeisho is going to be a tough matchup for Mitakeyumi. That means he has to go perfect against everybody else, and he hasn't been perfect against everybody else. He's lost to Maegashira 2, Meisei, Maegashira 1, Tobizaru, Maegashira 2, Koto no Waka. So we're saying likely losses to the Yokozuna and another Ozeki, and then he has to go perfect against everybody else. He already hasn't been perfect against everybody else. It only takes 3 more losses for him. I think he can easily get to 3 more losses this Basho. And I think we're looking at Sekiwake Mitakeyumi next Basho fighting to regain his Ozeki rank.
the universe back to its rightful order.
Yeah, absolutely.
As all things should be.
So does anybody have any argument? I think he's probably MVP of the Basho no matter what happens the rest of the way out. The way
Takayumi, totally.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
we're moving on. It's a transition.
I was about to say that was a weak ass transition. I'm like, Takayumi MVP.
Well, if you didn't interrupt me halfway through,
It's
it wouldn't
us.
have been
We
funny if I
interrupt
let
every
you finish,
time.
though.
but
Okay,
Ura.
who is the MVP of the
Ura,
Basho?
Who is the MVP?
Thank you.
Ura. He started off strong with that Ole win against Daisho, where he just kind of like sidestepped him. Daisho flew out. He threw his arms up. He was super happy that it happened. Then he's like, "Oh crap, I'm a sumo wrestler." Pulled it back down. And then the Tsutaizori win over Takara Fuji on day 4, only the 3rd ever in the top division. I think it's like the 19th ever in all divisions. Last time it happened was over 20 years ago with Asa Shoryu. So just an all-timer Kimarite for Ura, where he kind of like grabs the arm, twists around so that he like puts Takara Fuji onto his back and then like throws him down with the arm. Just a crazy back
like a
drop.
pro wrestling move.
Yeah. So Jake, read from the book. What is the description of the Tsutaizori?
Before I start reading, I have to note this is literally so rare. It is the last one.
That's Tom Zabel's book, right?
Literally the last one in the Sumo Skills book by Tom Zabel. Yeah. Which is partially sorted by rarity and then also partially alphabetically. So of the ones in the rarest category, it is
rare
also,
and alphabetical.
and it's at the end of the alphabet, which is a coincidence. So underarm forward body drop, Tsutaizori. That is too many words to describe.
Too many adjectives.
Underarm forward body drop.
Yes. So the attacker dives under one of the defender's arms while maintaining a grip on that arm. Leaning back and into the defender, he forces him to fall forward and touch down with his free hand. And if I didn't have video, there's no way that like 4 pictures is good enough to like describe what is going on here.
How do you lean back into somebody while at the same time forcing them to fall forward?
There have been very few times where I've yelled at my TV, and when I saw this, I literally yelled, "How the hell did he do that? What the hell was that?" I couldn't believe that move.
Sorry, I'm mirrored.
Whoop.
That one is the most illustrative to me of the pictures.
But that's not even close to what he did. I mean, he was.
Yeah, I mean, it is
because that's what they called it.
Well,
so.
no, but I mean, but Ura was kneeling. He was down. It looked like he was gonna sit down, but he just maintained. And then Takara Fuji went over his back.
So yeah, he grabs the arm and then while holding on to that arm, basically does a 180 and puts his back to the defender. And using that, he by sitting down with his grip on that arm, by like doing that sit down motion, he pulled the guy with him. Just, that's the game of inches. Pull him slightly harder down than you are going down yourself. So that's how.
Was it a pull down? To me, it kind of reminded me of like
it's like a little bit of letting his momentum carry him forward while you are also pulling him down. It seems to be my gist of the of the move.
All right, I got the impression it's kind of like being behind a cart and like using your legs to like push with your back instead of like like trying to push with your like hands forward. But if he was pulling down, maybe not so much of that kind of going on.
If any individual winning move has demanded a entire bonus episode as much as this one, I'd be surprised. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah,
I don't know. It is very cool, and I'm sure that there's plenty of people who could describe it better than me. So I need to text them.
Caleb,
yeah,
if you're listening, reach out to us.
Caleb, Justin, Tom, whatever. Anyways,
and then on top of all of that stuff, he also got the Kimboshi win over Terunofuji on day 6. Ura is just having himself a basho, and he's got Shodai on day 9, so that's only going to end in hilarity as well.
A grand old time.
There's
indeed.
No way that one isn't funny. Yeah.
And
it was his first ever win over Terunofuji out of 5 attempts.
Nice.
He always has circus matches with him somehow, but this time was the time.
Yeah, so like Tobizaru and Ura have gotten Kinboshi victories over Terunofuji, whereas we have guys like Kiribayama, Wakataka Kage, Hoshoryu, Koto no Waka still yet to find their first win against the Yokozuna. which really just shows it's the style that beats Teruno Fuji, not necessarily the Rikshi. Which makes it seem like I'm throwing shade on those guys, which I'm not meaning to, but a little bit. A little bit.
It's going to look like I'm throwing shade, but
I do, in my next point, want to highlight Tobizaru a little bit and Midori Fuji, the two Rikshi at Maegashira 1. I know Midori Fuji, we all kind of crapped on the preview episode saying, well, he's like jumping from Maegashira 11 to Maegashira 1. He's never been in this close to the Sanyaku ranks. And to have a 4-4 record at this point, and Tobizaru to have a 5-3 record, Tobizaru's been up in this range before, but he's never really hung around this range at all. I very impressed by these Maegashira 1 so far, in particular Midori Fuji, I think.
Yeah, I think they're both over. Well, Midori Fuji was a bit of a product of the Bansuke, right?
But he also had a back injury that he's been recovering from. Like the last time he was up in here, didn't he hurt himself? And that's what shot him back down into Juryo and below.
He was only like Maegashira 8 or 9, I think, maybe when he got that injury. So yeah, he never has been nearly this far up the Bansuke.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a bit of a weird Bansuke that forced him up higher than he probably should have been.
Yep.
But yeah, like you said, he seems to he's hanging just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's had some really good matches against Hoshoryu and Kiribayama.
Yeah.
And apparently against Hoshoryu, like it's a 5-0 domination on his end.
Yep.
Which
really?
thoroughly that thoroughly impressed me when I saw that. Like he has his number. So I've also been like thoroughly impressed with that guy. Like he got his licks against like the top big guys like in the Sanyaku, but all the kind of up and young counters that he's like faced a couple times, he's been holding his own, doing quite well.
Yeah, he's
also the only guy Shodai beat.
Yeah. Okay, asterisks.
He had a rough start, but he's found his legs. He's won 3 out of his last 4. He's beaten Hoshoryu, Kiribayama. No, Shodai. He beat Shodai. What are you talking about?
Oh, dang it! You're right. I'm sorry.
Learn how to read
but still
black and white
Shodai.
dots, Jake.
The black and the white look so similar on my computer screen. You see. But,
you've got night vision on, don't you?
Oh, never mind. Tobizaru is the one guy that Shodai beat.
There you go.
So it's still relevant, kinda.
Mm-hmm.
So
moving on.
I didn't have anything else for it.
Yeah. Moving on indeed. On day 7, we had an eerily familiar incident happen. Well, not eerily familiar because it was handled much, much better than what happened last Basho.
Quite.
But we had a situation in the Terutsuyoshi Mitoryu match where the Gyoji had to step in, stop the match. I believe it was Terutsuyoshi's Mawashi knot had come undone. And Jake, I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about that match and kind of how it compared to the Teruno Fuji Wakamoto Haru match.
Yeah, I mean, I just had this note in here. Also, Murray on the English commentary threw some shade at the last Basho about how much better this one was handled. And yeah, I mean, what do you guys think here? Because like to me, it seemed routine. But all it did was like dredge up our long ass coverage of the last one that we had kind of agreed on wasn't a complete travesty or anything. It was just kind of like a
now remind me, was this the same Gyoji or are these two different Gyoji that did this?
Different Gyoji. Okay,
that's what I thought. I liked how this Gyoji handled it. He just literally just stopped from the side that he was at. Now he could see it, so that was good. But he just tapped them both on the shoulder and said, "Hop, hang on," and then put the Gunbai tassels in his mouth, threw it over his shoulder, and then proceeded to tie the mawashi.
So silly. Yeah.
I like the tassels in the mouth. That was great.
Right? I was like, oh, cool. I did not expect that.
It's clearly like the exact procedure that they're supposed to follow, because I think I've seen it once or twice in the past where it's like, don't put that in your mouth.
You don't know where that's been.
You don't know where that's been.
Yeah. But yeah, I
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna tack onto that, Jacob, where it's like not a travesty. Because I think it was kind of like it's a tough situation of where like maybe he could have like been faster to like alert both of them at the same time, but it's a tough situation when you're kind of in that grapple battle.
And this one was this Basho's incident was a much lower degree of difficulty than the other one. Like it was kind of like there was no perfect way out for the Gyoji last time. But this time, yes, they did stall in a spot where he had the time to get in there, tell him to stop. They were in an easy position to like maintain for a second. so that he could just get it tightened back up. But I don't know. I suppose now is a good time for me to mention real quick, as long as we're talking about Mitoryu. I got big.
He is a big boy.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, Mitoryu is so big when he sits around the Heya. He sits around the Heya.
Oh.
Mitoryu laid down on a memory foam mattress and it forgot.
How many more of these do you have?
I got 5. Mitoryu got run over by a car once, but they had to refill halfway.
Oh.
Mitoryu, he leaves for the day in Geita sandals, but he comes back in flip-flops. And also Mitoryu once stepped on a Lego and the Lego broke.
Oh.
But yeah, no, we've mentioned him a few times because he's been in Juryo for like 600 years or something.
Yes.
But yeah, it's fun seeing him more regularly now that we get him in the top division. And yeah, I'm enjoying him so far. He's got just pretty solid, massive dude sumo.
D's 4-4.
Yep. Both guys making their Makuuchi debut. Mitoryu and Hiradoumi are both 4-4 so far in the Basho.
Yeah, good for them. Neither of them are getting like that 10-5 fighting spirit, set the world on fire kind of debut, but they're doing fine. Good for them.
Now, is Hiradoumi, is he in the same Heya as Sadanoumi?
Yeah, Miyogiryu and Sadadoumi. Yep.
That's what I thought.
So is there anybody else that we haven't talked about yet that we want to highlight through week 1? Mac, do you got anybody?
I do, and it's a sad one. The old man, Takara Fuji. I believe the sun has set, and I am sad because he's been one of the guys that we started watching. When we first started Sumo, Takara Fuji was there. He's been with us for so long. He's a solid M2 to M5 guy, and it's just not working. He's had a couple of bad tournaments. This one's going to be another bad tournament for him. I keep rooting for him to do well, but he just, I think the sun has set, and I am sad.
Yeah, I think he is clearly, this is the part of the part of the Bansuke where he's getting rolled out of real easily is slowly becoming like lower and lower down the Bansuke. Like we'd see him, Maegashira 1, Maegashira 2, he'd get up there and just knock down, but he could like hang at Maegashira 6, Maegashira 5. Yeah. Now we're kind of seeing, because last time he was at Maegashira 7, he started off 0-8, even worse than the 1-7 start he's had this time. Then he dropped down Maegashira 12. Okay, did fine there. Back up to Maegashira 5. It's another 1-7 start. So he's like slowly losing his upper limit on where he can hang in the Bansuke, it seems like.
Yeah,
we saw this with Koto Shogiku as well.
Yeah, exactly. But some guys like just crater. But Takara Fuji seems to be like a slow stock market, like wiggling slightly up and down here and there, but trending downwards over the last couple of years. Because yeah, he and like, to contrast him with Tamawashi, like those two were very frequent guys in the Sanyaku or the Joy when we first started watching, and they were like, oh well, those two are like, you know, the pusher version and the grappler version of like the rock that the Bansuke is built around, right?
Yeah.
and Tamawashi's apparently still fine, but clearly. But Takara Fuji and his A+ S tier buns are definitely on the way out here.
Seriously, just
Yeah, I have a couple to mention on the sadder note. Takanosho, I was hoping to watch him just rocket through everyone and be in that 8-0 on day 8 because he's so much better in the competition. But no, he had a good start, but he's just been just dropping matches, unfortunately. So that's been kind of sad to see. Hopefully he can regain some form and do pretty well. But in a happier note, Hiradoumi, like at 4-4, I actually been impressed with his fighting spirit. Like he's been getting after this match. The same exact. It's all about expectations of where I was expecting him to get destroyed, but like he's been holding his own, I feel, and it's been exciting to watch. I've been liking his matches.
All right, what about you, Jake? Is there anybody that we haven't really brought up yet? I don't know. I'm kind of running out of guys. I think we brought up
muted, Jake.
I was going to talk about. Gosh darn it, Jake! How long have we been doing this?
The dog came in here and she was whining, so I just muted it. Then I forgot.
How dare you be polite and not force our fans to listen to a whining dog?
Next time I need to yell at her to quit yelling at the mailman or something. I'll just leave the microphone on and just scream into it.
Like a professional, thank you.
No, I feel like there's a tremendous number of 4-4s on this Bansuke, so there's not like a ton of people to talk about that are like way outside of the norm. But I guess one other one I'd bring up is Oho. We mentioned him briefly as one of the guys that's like tied for third right now. But I'm hoping that he's hit his stride, because he's definitely it feels inevitable that he's going to become a top division mainstay here. So it's cool to see that potentially being now.
Two guys. I just remember two guys I want to bring up. First and foremost, Abi pulled out the day before the Basho, and it wasn't due to COVID, despite there being some COVID in his Heya. Sounds like he's had it was elbow and foot issues or something like that, and he had
for
to
a pusher thruster. That is not good.
Yeah, it sounded like he had surgery and he wasn't able to fully recover in time for the Basho. So Abi being held out of the entire Basho, and not for COVID reasons, he's going to drop down like Maegashira 10 to 12 range would be my guess. So that's going to be a big drop for Abi there. And then the other guy I wanted to mention real quick, Koto Nawaka, guy that was doing really good last Basho. He's currently 5-3, so he's doing pretty good right now. 3 losses were to Sekiwake, Yokozuna, and Ozeki, but he's won 4 straight at this point. He seems like he's going to be back on that forward trajectory up the Bansuke, kind of looking to be what I think will be a Sanyaku mainstay, if not an Ozeki, at some point in his career. I've got high hopes for Koto Nawaka, and he's living up to it so far this Basho. Let's dive down into the lower divisions real quick. Talk about Juryo. I think I said it last Basho. I'm saying it again this Basho. If you're not watching Juryo right now, you're missing some future stars in the top division. 2 that immediately come to mind is, one is the sole leader, Hokuseiho, at 7-1 down in Juryo, still living up to that hype. I believe he's still only 20 years old. A lot of people thought, well, he's got a bad Tachi. He's going to get figured out once he is up in Juryo. Hasn't happened yet. He had 11-4 last time. He's 7-1 this time. He's the sole leader in Juryo. And then we have another guy that is only 20 years old. That is Atami Fuji. He is at Juryo 3. He is 6-2. So he is doing very well in his 4th Juryo Basho. Another super young guy. Both of these guys rocketing up the ranks. And it's not impossible that both of these guys could be in Makuuchi next Basho. Atami Fuji, if he gets a 9-6, he should make it up into the top division. And Hokuseiho started off 7-1. If he can get to 12-13 wins, it's a big task. I'm not going to say he's going to do it. It's still a big task at 12-13 wins in Juryo, but he could be in that range to be promoted as well. So could see those guys up in the top division sooner rather than later. That is very exciting. And then down in Makushita, we have Asanoyama just easily bulldozing his way through the lower divisions. We still see people on Twitter, like last time, they're like, oh, Asanoyama, 6-1 record in Sandanme, he's going to lose. And there's people like, oh yeah, he's going to lose to somebody in Makushita. I'm like, no, he's not. Abi went 7-0 and 7-0 in Makushita. Even Ryuden went 7-0 in Makushita. I think he did lose one match down in Makushita, but Asanoyama is not going to lose to a Makushita Rikshi. It's not happening. Sorry. Will he lose in Juryo? Yeah, probably. One or two. But
yeah, exactly. It's like 1 or 2 for sure somewhere. But even Terano Fuji took a few losses on his way back up. But yeah. I don't know. Come on.
Yeah. Would it be cool or interesting if it happened? Yeah. Is it going to happen? Probably not.
Probably not.
But if there was that one guy that, that's the guy that beat Asanoyama back in Makushita.
True.
That'd be cool. It probably won't happen though.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the GSB belt, give an update on the Champ Chump predictions, and go through our lightning round. If you enjoy the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Support the show on Patreon and check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Also, watch us on YouTube.
Welcome back. The GSB belt is slightly funky this time.
What? So how is that different from the other times?
So
it's been funky for a little while. You're right.
That's what I mean. It's like, how is it different this time?
But this time it has been funked earlier than the funk usually funks.
At the end of the tournament.
So, as an expert in tournament styles, normally Makushita is run like a Swiss, you might say.
Oh.
Hot take.
We're all only laughing because before we recorded, Fleric was trying to explain this Swiss tournament style, which made perfect sense, but we were
It's like imagining a block of cheese.
Yeah.
Clearly, with all the holes and the structure.
It's like a well-constructed clock made of chocolate or something. I don't know. I'm running out of Swiss jokes. But either way, there was a weird thing where the guy who started with the belt this time around was Yoshi, who lost his first match to Yago. And so that means Yago's 1-0. But then they put Yago against Tomokaze, who had lost his first match.
Huh?
So normally almost always, if you win your first match, you'll get put against somebody who also won their first match, and then the winner of that will go against somebody else who's 2-0. So eventually it's not perfect, but it almost always ends up with a 7-0 winner in Makushita.
I think I figured it out.
Oh yeah, what's going on?
So we had a Makushita Sudedame or
Tsukidashi.
Tsukidashi, thank you. So they had a new guy enter Makushita, so it's an odd number of people in Makushita.
But Kaisei retired.
Dang
that levels it out.
But there
Bonzacade.
Ishiura. But hey, we're back to an odd number because Ishiura is sitting out the Basho.
All right, I halfway figured it out.
We're back to an even number because there's a guy named Suguro who is also pulled out of the Basho the entire time.
Just like
so
a
we
Swiss
have no
cheese.
idea what's
so
happening.
I cannot choose the glass in front of me.
You have a dizzying intellect, sir.
I've barely begun.
So yeah, we should have had
Inconceivable indeed.
an even number of Rikishi on day 3 or
But
4,
wait.
whenever that.
Oh wait, no.
He interjects.
I saw the 2 and 2. I says, but the other guy who pulled out, he didn't pull out in the first couple days. But I think you actually, or there's another 0 and 4. So I think it's.
So I think the secret is that Tomokaze has spent the last couple of years developing an immunity to iocane powder, and thus I clearly cannot choose the glass in front of you.
Clearly, the GSB belt is not for you. It is not around your waist.
All right, this bit has gone on long enough. Fuji Seiyun currently has the belt,
and we have no idea what's going to happen.
Yep.
Fuji Seiyun, who is currently 3-1. And yeah, so there are undefeated guys in the division. So I don't think they would face Fuji Seiyun, who's not undefeated in the coming days. So it's possible that our belt will not end on the winner of the Yusho.
It probably won't.
Probably won't, but it is still in a good position that it might move up to Juryo because Fuji Seiyun at 3-1 will probably face other guys at 3-1.
So here's the issue. Everybody ahead of Fuji Seiyun, and he's Makushita 5, has already 2 or more losses, except for Tsushi Manada at Makushita 4. But Fuji Seiyun has already faced and beaten Tsushi Manada. So that means Fuji Seiyun is only going to face Rikishi ranked below him from here on out. And if he loses any of those, it is likely this belt will not make it up to Juryo next time. And it's not even a lock with Fuji Seiyun at Makushita 5. I don't know if it's a lock if he's 6-1.
He'd probably go up, but it's still not. There's no guarantees here at this point. But it is possible that the belt moves up. It's also possible and probably more likely that the belt ends up in the same damn place it's been sitting for half a year now.
Yeah.
That was a really long-winded way to say that it's not clear.
Not good.
It does look like a Makushita 5 with a 6-1 record is more likely than not to make it up into Juryo the next time.
Cool.
It's happened the last 7 occurrences.
I have one last theory.
Okay.
On this stuff. So I just one second.
Way more in depth than I thought we were on it, and I love
Is it a Princess Bride reference?
No. So no. I don't know that.
We'll figure out a way to connect it. But go ahead.
Yeah. So maybe it's different. Maybe it's actually different Rikishi in the same Heya or maybe that the brothers, and that's why there was kind of weird Bonsuke matching up.
Oh, hold on. Because
yeah, Makusha's really big, so there's probably maybe some kind of weird odd numbers somewhere there.
Because we're Yago and Tomokaze, didn't they used to be in the same Heya?
I don't know.
I think they were both in who was the Yoshikaze? They were both in his Heya, I think. God, we are going way too long on this, but I don't care.
Let's see. Yago is part of he did switch.
Yeah, so they're both
to be in Oguruma. But then that must have dissolved and they split them because Tomokaze is now in Nishinoseki and Yago is now in Oshiogawa.
Yes. And I believe Oshiogawa is Yoshikaze. No, I don't think No, I think Yoshi. I don't remember.
Nishinoseki is Kisenosato, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So the break off Heya, when he decided to break off, he took some Rikshi with him. And apparently he roped him in.
Hold on.
Yeah, I guess it's very uncommon though that a Heya would be split.
Oshiogawa is Takekaze, who was in that same Beya with Yoshikaze. And I think Yoshikaze is a coach at Oshiogawa now. I think that's how it all lines up. All right.
So that's why they put a guy with a loss against a guy with a win. Got it.
Yeah. we figured it out. We did it.
I did not think it means what you think it means.
All right. We're going to move on. Champ Chump prediction series. This is the time where we all point and laugh at Fleric for choosing Shodai as his champ.
Oh, Fleric. Oh, sir.
I've only myself to blame.
Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
I had a glimmer of hope that maybe this was a different time, and I'm not sure what I expected with this.
You have always decried him as being a hot garbage Shodai. Why now?
This is literally the reason Fleric started to dislike Shodai was because of poor performance in fantasy sports. Yeah.
Yeah. It's you know what? I'm actually not mad. I'm actually impressed.
Shodai held this grudge waiting for you to have enough faith to pick him again.
Mm-hmm.
Just so
I can tell he's a huge fan of this podcast, must be. So it's sad, but I only have myself to blame. So
you're in real rough shape though, Fleric, because not only do you have Shodai as your champ with one win, who's just going to be just dishing out bonus points like candy as soon as our champs start facing each other. But your chump is Midori Fuji, who's doing like okay. So you're not even going to get saved that way. And your closest competition for losing is me, but I'm going to get a bonus point because me and Ryan put a point on the line that Ichinojo was going to do well. And he's not, so I'm going to get a bonus point off of Ryan.
Yeah, we need to stop down on Ichinojo real quick because he's the defending Yusho champ and he's 2-6.
And we haven't said his name until now. God,
that was a miss on our part, so apologies. But it's looking like Fleric's 4-11 prediction for Ichinojo that we all kind of laughed off. It's not looking too bad right now.
No.
So yeah, I mean,
I used up all my future insight on that pick. My Shodai.
Your clairvoyance only saw so much.
Fleric, I'm gonna make a reference only you and I will understand, but it's like Farukami or whatever from like the Mistborn series. You tapped your metal mind for good predictions with the Ichinojo one, and then you had to store all of your luck for the Shodai prediction to build your luck up for later. And so you were really bad at predicting. And so that's what happened.
Yeah, it was very bad timing on my part. I should have just like not stored right away. But apparently I did.
Sorry, very nerdy reference that probably only Fleric and I will understand.
It's that series you read, right?
I've heard of books.
Yes.
I've heard of these things.
I was about to say, this is not StarCraft, therefore I cannot chime in.
Yeah.
that is
Instructor pylons.
Everybody should read the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson and every other series by Brandon Sanderson. He's really good.
They're good.
Is he the guy that puts out like a novel every week? Like he just has this tremendous like sheer volume of books.
Basically at least one novel a year. And then like during COVID, he just like wrote 4 novels in secret and they're all going to be released next year.
Oh man.
All right. So yeah, base standings right now, Mac is in the lead with 12 points, Takakeisho champ, Tochinoshin chump. I'm following up with 10 points, Terano Fuji champ, Nishikiki chump, and then Fleric is in dead last, Shodai champ, Midori Fuji chump. But I do want to throw shade on Jake because he did have Nishiki Fuji as his chump, and Nishiki Fuji sitting at 6-2 right now.
Yep, that is the second worst pick out of all of them. Only second to Fleric picking Shodai. Yeah. Shodai to do well. Yeah.
So let's.
Ooh, I got a new nickname for Shodai. We should just call him Chodai.
Oh.
Veto.
No, I'm just envisioning the Clint Eastwood meme from Gran Turismo. Just no.
All right, we're gonna hop into lightning round. We're gonna try to keep this very, very lightning. So, Jake, who has impressed you the most so far?
Nishiki Fuji.
Fleric, who has impressed you the most so far?
Shodai.
What? Lightning. Mac, who's impressed you the most so far?
Midori Fuji.
All right, and I was also gonna go with Midori Fuji. Who has disappointed you the most so far? Fleric.
Shodai.
Fair.
Mac.
Shodai.
I'm gonna say Ichinojo. Expected more of it following up the U show. Jake.
Ichinojo.
All right. Favorite match of the Basho so far, Mac.
Ura versus Takara Fuji, day 4. What the hell was that?
I'm gonna go with the Slapfest Takakeisho versus Koto Nowaka. Jake.
Kiribayama versus Shodai was a circus match and hilarious, and I loved it.
Fleric.
Ura versus Daisho. I'm going to explain a little bit, but it's mostly because the fake. I love it when I see sumo tactics that I understand. It's like simple enough, but like he went for the fake push against Daisho, but then he just kind of sidestepped it. So Daisho just momentum took him out of the ring. It was fantastic to see.
All right, Jake, what is the most exciting potential matchup for you?
Takayasu versus Takayasu.
Ooh.
Also, here's that whining dog that I've been muting before. You'll be hearing her now out of spite.
Fleric.
Terano Fuji versus Takayasu. 12-12 matchup. Let's go.
Mac.
Takakeisho versus Terano Fuji. Best in the top. Let's see him clash.
Hokuto Fuji versus Tamawashi for me, the two leaders. What are you guys talking about? All right. On a scale of 1 to wacky, how would you describe week 1 of Aki? Fleric.
Whack.
Mac. Wacky.
I would say zany.
Okay.
I'll go zany. Yeah. Jake.
I will say 7 out of 10 backwards body drops of wackiness.
All right. Who is going to win it, Mac?
I hate this question. Tamawashi.
Choo choo, motherfuckers. Hokuto Fuji hype train all the way. Jake.
Takayasu, I don't care.
Takakeisho.
All right,
there we go.
This might be the first time we've had 4 different picks for who's going to win it on the recap.
Bubbles,
and none of them were Terano Fuji.
Bubbles, who do you think, since you're being so vocal? Do you have an opinion you want to share with the listeners? It's okay. The microphone's right here. Come on. Yeah, shut up.
All right, that is all we have for the halfway point of the Aki Basho. Thank you for listening. We will have our recap of the entire Basho shortly after it wraps up. So keep an ear out for that. Jake, Mac, do we have any amateur sumo podcasts coming out in the interim?
We already covered that.
While you were gone, we went over the amateur schedule. As far as podcasts, we probably got another 1 or 2 previews in the next couple weeks, because we'll have to preview the Beer City Open, and we'll have to preview Sumo Dan's All-America Classic, and there will absolutely be some content after we go out to learn how to do sumo.
Totally.
Yeah, so we're gonna try and get some people to talk to, maybe get some video and such, and of course pictures of Mac somehow managing to tie his mawashi on backwards. And
it's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen.
And then me getting completely flattened by some 400-pound guy that also showed up that I thought I could wrestle, and things like that. It'll be a good time. Keep an eye out.
All right. So catch us next time when we're recapping this Aki Basho. God, I'm terrible at ending these things.
Also,
later,
Sumo.
GSB peeps.
Yeah. We'll just go the Sumo.
No, Sumo Prime Time.
Lark, that's not us.
Copyright.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time,
Throw your salt high.
and keep moving forward.
We'll explore thing.
Hi, Riley.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Is it Riley there?
Hi.
Riley.
Uh
Yeah, is your mama ignoring you?
oh. Oh, there's a Riley.
Hey, Riley. Who's on the computer?
Hey, Riley.
Can you wave?
There we go.
Hi, Riley.
Hi.
I don't
Can
know
you
why
show
we're
them your
talking to her.
cast?
She can't hear us.
Oh,
I
there is her
know, but
cast.
still.
Oh.
That's a big boo-boo.
Or all the babies like think it's really cool and metal that she has a cast.
Oh, I would. Look at that laser yellow cast and be like, that's
Yeah.
right.
Can you talk
she
into
have-
the microphone? Say hi. Say hi,
Maybe.
though.
Hi, Riley.
Oh.
Are you going to be a podcaster in the future? Say yeah.
That's lame, Daddy.
Hi, they told us what you're saying.
Oh, I don't know
didn't
what
catch
that
any
was,
of
but it was adorable.
yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Hi, Riley. Can you hear
Welcome
us?
to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
Hi.
Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
Riley, say
Riley.
welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Can you say welcome? I don't think she's adjusting well to having headphones on.
She doesn't like it.
What is this world?
I get camera shy too sometimes.
It's okay. It's okay.
You can go with Mama. We're about to start recording.
Okay.
We're already recording.
Yeah, we've
Oh.
been recording. You know that's going in as a nugget at the end.
Oh, of course.
Right.
I hope she just clubs all the other babies like Cowboy Bob Orton.
Right? It's like, this is what
I-
happens on the playground. This is what happens.
I actually hope for the exact opposite of that.